Yeah, tough loss, like very frustrating loss to be honest with you. You look at just how that game played out. It's probably one of the more bizarre games I've ever been a part of. Just like how the whole flow of everything went. But like at the end of the day, the story of this game is we beat ourselves. Like you can't have the two punt issues that occurred. There was a missed field goal. There's two targeting penalties. There was three holding penalties. There's drop balls. There was bad execution on third down. And that's hard to overcome. And I'm probably missing a lot more things out there. But there are always are positives that you can look at. With the block punt right at the end of the first half, and there's some interceptions that happened, and we made some plays at times. But like overall, we made too many mistakes. Too many mistakes. The thing that offensively you looked at the struggles. Like they played a very prevent defense, and they got after us up front. They were rushing forward. They were getting to the QB. We were trying all sorts of things to just do run RPO type stuff. I thought we couldn't overcome all the penalties that we had. It made it very, very difficult on our offense, And then when the defense did do great things and have an interception or maybe a force a punt or whatever it is, we didn't capitalize on it. I've talked to you guys many times about just complimentary football and it's really about momentum swings and rising our level of play when capitalizing on the other side of the ball, and we didn't do that. That's a team that doesn't make very many mistakes. We caught them in some situations, but the kind of the moral of the entire story is that we beat ourselves. We had too many mistakes, and they're very critical to overcome. So I give a lot of credit to the Georgia Southern team. I think they're a very talented team. When we talked about, I had some concerns about them going in, just about being up front, like the up front. I thought they're very talented, very big, and credit to them. They got after us, and we made way too many mistakes, and they capitalized off of them. So questions.
Coach, what did you tell the team after the game?
What did I?
What did you tell the
What I
players?
tell 'em?
Yeah.
We talk about transparency all the time. Like I actually got them talking a little bit too, and you're like, what do you think? And I was like, you guys know exactly what I'm going to say. And they're like, yeah, it's on us. We made too many mistakes. We didn't capitalize off of momentum swings or any good plays that did occur. But you can't have that many penalties. You can't have that many mishaps on special teams that are that like critical and game-breaking plays. And you got to execute on third down. You can't versus a team like that that is a very talented front. You've got to be able to execute at a high level, and we didn't do that. They fortunately I told them I wish it would have worked out better for senior night. But we're gonna end up working our way through this. You have that. You got just going back, like I'm saying, just the punts and like how we blocked the punt to score and just missed field goals and all sorts of stuff. Like, at the end of the day, we got to do better than that. And like when you're talking to the team, we got 2 more games left, and I told them that we're going to show up and we're going to keep fighting like we always do. And there's really not much to be said in that locker room, Drew. It's just like they know that we can't play that sloppy of football and actually win games like that. And it's another one of the games that is bizarre endings, and it goes down to onside kicks, and we got to find ways to overcome that. And I told them I never question their heart, I never question their fight, but in order for this program to take the next step, we got to be able to not beat ourselves like we did tonight.
You said it was a pretty funky flow to that game out there. Do you think that played into not being able to really get your offense going the way you wanted to, because it was a strange flow, strange
Yeah,
game out there?
anytime that we ended up having something big, we had a penalty that overcame it. Even with like when we had a bad play, like then they'd get like a roughing the passer on like some weird like it was just kind of like you're like expecting a third down call, and then it ends up being a first down call because they get a roughing the passer. But then we hit a run to Jeter, and it's a good play, and then it gets a holding call. And then we throw like one on the perimeter to Jeter, and then it gets a holding call. And then like Jeter had that really long run too, and ended up having a holding call. So like anytime that we had penalties, they were on like really explosive plays. So like that kind of emotionally kind of messes with teams at times. But you got to learn how to overcome that. And we didn't do a very, very good job at it. Sometimes we did, but then we'd put ourselves right back in that position with either a penalty or a negative play that was pretty critical. And I just thought the whole night was off. Just how it was kind of flowing. When the defense was playing good, then the offense would struggle, and the defense would play bad, and the offense would go and do something good at least, and then it was just a time where I thought everything was bad at the moment, So, it's just something you got to look at the tape because I still don't understand how the flow of that game correctly occurred today, So I'll have to study a little bit more.
Coach, how would you, I guess, overall judge your special teams overall? You had that block punt. You mentioned those 2 errors as well. Where do you think they lied in that game?
Yeah, we're talking about it, so obviously there were some issues. I thought Seth Keller was doing well. He ended up missing that 30. That I think it was probably around a 40-some-odd yard field goal, like 45, 47-yard field goal. But Seth's been consistent, so I thought he did good. Seamus, I don't understand what was going on with the punts, and we left. There's 2 punts that ended up, they're scoring on one, and one of them that was in their territory. Had a big explosive run by Twyford, and that ends up coming back on a holding penalty. So overall, I just the inconsistencies were just bad. We made a lot more worse plays than actually good plays. The play, I thought we managed the end of the first half and got to a point where we blocked that punt and actually scored. But overall, I thought the special teams were all over the place.
It seemed like one of their favorite plays was to run that quarterback run option. They were doing that a lot during the game. How hard was that? How hard was it to adjust that kind of play?
Yeah, that's something that they've ran for years there, but they came out really the past few games they didn't really show that stuff. So we still practiced it. They ended up having some tweaks to it. I thought we did a good job of shutting down their base offense, and then they got into the triple option game, which was difficult for us at times. I thought we did good at times, but then there's moments where they hit some big explosive plays, and we got to be able to wrap up and make those plays in space. So it's a tough scheme. You got to be able to stop it in terms of not have very many explosive plays. If you can get them behind the chains a little bit, that gets them out of their offense where they don't want to do that. And I thought methodically they were inching forward the entire time.
There was that one blocked field goal that was recovered and then fumbled, and then gave them a fresh set of downs. I couldn't really see it from the replay or anything like that, but from your angle, what was going on with that play? Did it look like he picked it up, or what happened there?
Yeah, when he talked to the defense, they said that they never even picked it up, and then it got down to video review, and they said that there was inconclusive evidence to overturn it, so they just left it as is. I've never seen that one before either. We're having a good momentum deal, and then all of a sudden it ends up being a turnover, a fumble on our part, and then they get the ball. So yeah, that one's kind of, I'm at loss of words for that one. It's just the defense was holding them, and then you have a good moment happen, and then all of a sudden something bizarre like that occurs, and it is what it is.
Even though there was the mishaps with Seamus out there punting, there was the block punt, there was that block kick. What was going right? Did y'all do anything different this week on special teams to block those kicks, or was it more their lineup for Georgia Southern, or what happened there?
Yeah, no, Coach Whitworth does an unbelievable job for us. I think, across the board, we're one of the better special teams units in our conference. You'll just look at Seamus and what he's done over the last 3 years, and Seth Keller and his consistency, and then we've had some explosive returns with Haydell, and we're doing some good things. But with the block kicks, we're always in position for it, and we scheme it up like crazy. We knew that we had a block for that punt. That's why I used the timeouts. We knew that all year we bring it on we call it our SWAT team, on our PAT field goal block, and they do a really good job at it, and they bring it every single play. Even if they don't block it, they're getting pushed, and they're kind of setting a tone and sending a message to them. And Coach Witt does a really good job with it. It's just, I'm kind of at loss for words because we normally really haven't had these issues on special teams. We had Georgia Southern last year, we did have the snap over the punt, but over the punter's head. But this one right here, you just look at, you had the 2 punts and then you had a missed field goal, but then you had a lot of missed field goals. You blocked a field goal and you blocked a punt. What a bizarre special teams game. But typically Coach Whitworth does a great job with that, and there was just something off tonight with our specialist. But he did a great job with those block kicks.
Coach, it seemed like y'all were able to move the ball pretty effectively all night, but y'all did have to settle for field goals a couple times, which isn't usually the case. So I'm wondering what was different when y'all got closer to the goal line.
Penalties, negative plays. You know, like we end up going for it like on 4th and 1, then we end up tempoing into a good run play, and it hits for a 5-yard loss. You know, and I thought they were really talented up front. You know, and I talked about it, you know, all week with them and even with you guys. They got some guys that are NFL guys up front. We knew it was going to be a challenge, and I thought they kept everything in front. They played a quarters, just a soft coverage, just played, you know, everything in front of them, and they just let their defensive line get after us, man. You know, and that's why like nothing was hitting efficiently. You know, you got to be able to, like versus a team like that, and they're going to play too high and give you a good box to run it into. You got to be more efficient in the run game. You can't be going back and like behind chains, because when you start throwing into that, you know, they're bracketing everything. You know, and like Vitt, we knew that we went to a 10 personnel type look with about 5 minutes to go, whatever that was, 3-4 minutes to go in the game, and we're going to spread it out and get into our 2-minute stuff. We were concerned about the pass rush, and then, you know, like you got Julian who's open on a crossing route, and then the D end, like the D end ends up hitting Vitt, and it gets deflected and it gets intercepted. You know, it's you know, that defensive line, they got after us pretty well, and they played really a prevent defense the entire game.
You know, just clarity on one play, the first punt by Seamus when he tackled for a loss. Was that designed run, or was he just got jammed up?
Spooked. Yeah, he got spooked on both of them. You know, which is rare. You know, that kid's normally done a pretty good job his whole career. You know, they just had a bad day because, you know, like it was like 4th and like 20 because we had another like penalty and all that. Like if you don't fake that punt, you know, like it. You know, I looked at him. I thought he was trying to call his own number because like the way it looked, and he talked about he just thought that the guy got a good rush on the shield and thought he was going to get blocked. But yeah, that was crazy.
I'm sorry if I cut you
No,
off.
you're good.
You were talking about Tyler Vitt earlier. We learned that before the game that he was a part of the senior ceremony, which means he won't return next year. A guy who's played a lot of football. Can you kind of tell us about what he means for this team? Obviously, he started today, made some good plays, but how big of a loss is that?
Yeah, no, I'm saying just from a teammate perspective. Like Tyler Vitt, man, I got a ton of respect for him and everything that he has brought to this community, to San Antonio high school football, to just Texas State. You know, he's a tough, competitive kid, you know, and has played a lot of football for us, you know, and all the good and bad that's ever happened to him, he always stays consistent. He always shows up. He's a great teammate, a great person. You know, just wish that he could have got a win tonight on his senior night. But, you know, that kid's going to show back up. He's going to keep showing back up and competing, and he's got a bright future ahead in whatever he does, man. But, you know, we're going to miss him. You know, like, love that kid, you know, just like for everything that he stands for. So wish we could have gotten him a win tonight for sure, because he leaves it all out there on the field, man, because you look at him right now and he's all beat up and bloody, and, you know, he leaves everything that he's got out there on the field for this program, for this university.
Do you think he'll be the starter for next week, or is that still up for debate?
Yeah, like, it'll probably be up for debate right now moving forward. You know, we got 2 games, 2 quality opponents, and you know, we got to work our way through it. But, you know, with Vitt being able, you know, not coming back, you might see like Brady getting back in the mix again. You know, just was initial thoughts on where we stand with it, but might as well play them both.
Jake, moving forward, how do you get this locker room to not focus on, you know, by and large the way the season has gone, the way tonight went, to get focused and make them understand that, you know, this, you know, especially for the guys who are coming back in for your seniors, and you want a strong start heading into,
Right.
the
next
heading into the
season.
seniors' last couple of games and heading into the off season.
Yeah, no, you know, we've been in this position before. You know, like this, they've actually been in this position for a long time. You know, and you know, the thing is like we've got a culture right now that we're going to show up and fight. You know, and you know, we're going to be down a lot of bodies from targeting penalties and all sorts of other things, but you know, we got to keep showing up and we got to keep doing the right things. You know, that's the only way we know how to fix it. They understand it. You know, like. The transparency we have, we understand we can't play. You have to play clean football. Like you can't have that many bizarre mistakes and overcome it. So, you know, we gotta look at ourselves. There's a lot of self-reflection, and you gotta line it back up and do it again. You know, this game is a very humbling game. It's a physical game. You know, you go through a lot of adversity. There's a lot of you gotta be mentally tough to play this game. You know, and like unfortunately the ball's not bouncing our way, and we still got 2 opportunities, and you know we'll find a way to get these guys to show up and compete. You know, And I think the leadership of this team, they'll show up and they're gonna keep fighting. They will.
You know, it didn't seem like a lot of injuries for the Bobcats, but there were quite a few for Georgia Southern, specifically the running back, Gerald Green, who's carted off, may have gotten into an ambulance. Do you know anything about him? Or
I
what's the
asked
other
after the game, and they said there was movement, but like I'm not exactly sure to speak on it. But you know that again, a lot of bizarre night. You know, I felt for that kid, like just for the program and just where it happened, and I just hoping and praying that he's all right.
And sorry, I'm taking that. But injuries? Any injuries for the Bobcats at all? Or
Not that I know of. You got the 2 targeting penalties with DC and Troy. They'll be out for the beginning of next week. Besides that, probably just bumps and bruises. Like nothing crazy on our end from injuries that I know of right now.